Hello guys, in this lecture we are going to understand about superconductors and their importance in physics, their types and the uses. So firstly, as you know that the materials are defined basically into three types, that are conductors, insulators and semiconductors. So conductors are those materials which have plenty of free electrons, mean there are a lot of free electrons that are available in that material. In the case of insulators, electrons cannot be free as they are very closely bound to the atoms. And in the third case, that is the semiconductors, over here you see there is a band gap that can be covered by providing some temperature or some external source. So in the case of conductors, you see the valence band and the conduction band both are overlapping each other, so electrons can easily move from valence band to conduction one. So definitely there will be free electrons in that material, whatever is conductor. And in the case of semiconductors, there is a band gap of the 1 electron volt. So if you provide heat to such a material, for example silicon, then electrons will get accelerated from the valence band and then will move to the conduction band. In the third case, that is the insulators, there is a very large band gap, that is usually more than 5 electron volts. So in that case, electrons cannot jump even if the heat or any external source is provided. So that material is known as semi insulator. The next thing that we are going to understand is the basics of superconductor. So a superconductor is usually defined as a material that has zero resistance. You understand, zero resistance means there will be no disturbance that will be caused due to that material when any electric current or anything that is flowing through it. For example, if an electron is flowing from some superconductor, in such a case, then electron will feel no resistance, mean there will be definitely no heat wastage. If there is no resistance, mean no energy dissipation will be over there in such a case. So definitely that is very useful thing in the physics. So it has many applications in various fields that we are going to understand over here. So there is some certain critical temperature above which the materials behave like a superconductor or may change their properties from the superconductors to the normal materials. And the basic things before understanding the types of the superconductors is given over here, that is firstly the zero resistance. So when a superconducting material is cooled below its critical temperature is fixed for every material. So for a specific material that is superconducting, then if you provide it temperature that is less than its Tc, that is its critical temperature, then its resistance will fall below zero value. So it will offer no resistance definitely. So it will we have infinite conductivity, mean there will be just infinite number of free electrons that will be available in that material at that time, right? So in this diagram, as you can clearly see, that the temperature T is taken on the x-axis and the electric resistivity is on the y-axis. So for a normal metal, the increase in temperature is causing the increase in electrical resistivity, that is almost directly proportional. But in the case of superconductor, initially from 0 to Tc there is no change in electric resistivity, and suddenly when the Tc, mean the critical temperature of that certain material reaches, then the object just enters the superconducting state, and then its line is at same is not at the same electric resistivity, mean the electric resistivity is continuously changing after entering into the superconducting state. Second thing that we are going to understand is Meissner effect. So according to it, a superconductor cannot allow a magnetic field that is applied externally to penetrate through it. This property is known as Meissner effect. So it can be understood over here that, for example, this ball or anything that is a superconducting material. So when you provide the magnetic field, that is B, in such a direction that magnetic field cannot pass from this material, this material will repel the magnetic field. So this property is known as Meissner effect. The next thing is critical magnetic field. So just like critical temperature, the same thing, that any superconducting material will have some certain critical magnetic field below which it's not a superconducting material actually. Next one is critical current. That is definitely the same thing, just like critical magnetic field. The next thing is precedent current. Yeah, this is interesting one. In that case, we take a temperature again on the x-axis and resistivity over here. So just like in the above diagram, as you saw, that the superconducting material shows an abrupt superconducting state in it, just as compared to the plain material or the normal material. So if you cool down a superconducting material below its critical temperature, then its magnetic field and that magnetic field, external magnetic field that you had applied over here, is removed. Even after removing the external magnetic field, there will be some current that will be present in that material. So that current is known as precedent current. So in simple words, you can understand it, that the current that remains in a material even after removing the external magnetic field from the material is known as precedent current. The next thing is the types of superconductors. So there are two types, that's type 1 and type 2. According to their properties, they are named as this. Going to the first one, as a type 1, it involves the pure metals and the metallides that are you can say semi-metals, and they show the ability to some certain electric conductivity at the normal temperature. At normal temperature they are just like normal conductors, right? So when you cool down then below their critical temperature, then the electrons will get slowed down, and definitely then they will behave as superconductor, and they are the superconductors that are named as soft superconductor. Why? That they have low temperature, they need very less temperature to be a superconductor, okay, as compared to the type 2, as you will see just a little bit later. They display very sharp transition, just as you saw in the above case, that their type 1 superconductors are those material in which the transition from a normal metal to a superconducting material is very sharp. However, in the case of type 2, that will be different. As critical temperature reaches, then the material abruptly changes its state to reach the superconducting state, as can be seen from this graph. This is the magnetic field, that is H, and from this side again the resistivity of the material. So in the case of type 1, that is indicated by the red line, you see that initially it is increasing very proportionality relationship with resistivity. Magnetic field and both current are very proportional to each other, you may say like this. And in the case of type 2, you see it's not reaching at the 2 peak point, and second thing, that it is gradually decreasing to certain value. Okay, these two things are important to understand. So type 1 shows perfect diamagnetism. When you remove the magnetic field, So you see, definitely there will be certain current that we named as present current, but this is a material that do not allows magnetic field to penetrate through it. So this thing is Meissner effect, as you just lately understand that, and this ability is very strong in the type 1 superconductors. Okay, so here are some examples of the type 1 superconductor, like mercury shows a superconducting state at negative 4.15 kelvins temperature. Similarly for aluminum, zinc and lead. In the case of type 2 semiconductors, we see there will be very gradual change from a normal state to the superconducting state for a certain material. So the critical magnetic field of type 2 is greater. Here you just come back. The critical magnetic field for the type 2 is greater. You see that at this point they are formed with the metallic compounds and the alloys like lead or copper, you may say like that. And here is certain specific material that is taken, and then its graphs are drawn for the type 1 and type 2 both. You can clearly understand from here that initially in the case of type 1 there is abrupt change and higher change. Okay, and in the case of type 2, this one, the type 2 shows very less change and the change is nextly very gradual. Okay, the next thing is in the case of type 1, when they are demagnetized, when their external magnetic field is removed, then they come back to the normal state gradually. Okay, and in the case of type 2 there exists a mixed state, mean for some time, for example at this point it was initially a purely superconductor, and then when you remove the magnetic field then it was coming back to the normal state, but there was some state in between when it was behaving both like conductor as well as superconductor. So that is a mixed state. And next thing that we are going to understand about type 2 is magnetic field can penetrate through it. So definitely it obeys the Meissner effect or the Meissner law, you may say, and they are definitely not completely diamagnetic, so they have the paramagnetic behavior. As you have understood about the magnetic materials, you may understand from that. So type 2 is very useful in the electromagnets, and they are further used to produce the strong magnetic fields like used in the MRI, and there are some uses of the superconductors that are given over here. Yeah, this one. These are some various fields in which superconductors play a vital role. For example, energy, then they are used to make cables, FCLs, generators, transformers, SMEs, fusion reactors, and in defense, transportation, industrial, medical, science and research, and various other fields. Okay, so they are the basic just some uses of the superconductors. I hope you like this video. Thank you very much.